So, this is supposed to be the indie stuff, but because of when I'm recording this, literally hours after the other one, even though the file is going to take even longer, because apparently this decided to lose internet while I stepped away for a bit. News has happened. Apparently we've got the final bit of the roster reveal for 2K18, so I'll quickly go through that. I won't go through the entire list. It was 126 names. We can now expand that to 173. This roster is ridiculous. So the 47 that have been added in this final list, apparently, are JBL, Tatanka, Typhoon, Tatsumi Fujiyami, RVD, Booker T, Batista, Trish Stratus, Psycho Sid, Jake the Snake Roberts, Christian, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Aiden English, Goldust, The New Day of Big E, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, Sting, Shawn Michaels, Titus O'Neil, Enzo Amore, Brian Kendrick, Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon, Alicia Fox, Ultimate Warrior, Charlotte Flair, Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, Cassius Ono, Darren Young, Rich Swann, Grand Metalik, Noam Dar, and Jack Gallagher. So there's going to be some cruiserweight stuff there, which is good to see. No Way Jose, the Colons, the Primo and Epico, Tyson Kidd, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce, Rhino, Kurt Hawkins, Heath Slater, R-Truth, and Breezango of Tyler Breeze and Fandango. That, as it stands, is the roster. There's a lot of people that are unhappy that there's no Hardys in it, but considering when that deal was done and everything, perhaps they could be DLC. Considering that the time that they announced it, that could be DLC, so we'll have to see. But, yeah, that'll be coming October, from what I remember, I think. Or is it November? I don't even know. But the big thing that's come out is, I talked about how Jeff Jarrett's gone and how it seems to have been an Ed Nordholm decision. Well, it might have got more interesting, because Sports Illustrated, who aren't really that much into wrestling, let's be honest about it, has a very interesting story that came out literally within hours of me filming the last video, which is going to be sort of out of date, but I guess not entirely. So obviously, Jarrett is indefinite leave of absence in terms of Chief Creative Officer. And there's been no comment for clarification on what that is. However, and this is according to Justin Barrasso at Sports Illustrated, GFW is hemorrhaging funds, and sources close to the situation is Anthem is ready to withdraw itself from the wrestling industry and sell GFW, with the fact that they even needed to gut the Fight Network in order to actually finance the running of the company. The issue is, of course, as I previously mentioned in the last one, Jarrett owns the GFW name, so basically Anthem would be selling Impact Wrestling only. The report basically then goes on to say how, WWE could be very handy to buy it in terms of the tape library and everything. And of course, if that did happen, then the broken Hardys gimmick could actually happen without any issues whatsoever. And also keep in mind, and we talked about this before, Big John Gabernick, who's part of GFW Creative and seems to be more of a figurehead at the top right now, is extremely, extremely close with Kevin Dunn, WWE's exec vice president of TV, and the guy that pretty much puts it together every week. It does say that there's the possibility that Anthem could sell to Ring of Honor. Anthem could sell to Billy Corgan. Irony of all ironies. But yeah, this got more interesting just within hours of me doing stuff. Wow. Be interesting to keep an ear on the wires and the sources, which I have none of them. Whoa. So, now we'll jump into the indie stuff, because that was big. So, in terms of results from the indies, the only thing to really mention in terms of Dragon Gate Japan is we found out the number one contender for the Dream Gate title as Masaki Mochizuki beat Big R Shizumu with an arm lock near to the 15-minute mark. The other stuff was part of this unit survival race that really is not interesting even the Dragon Gate fans. So it's like, I have no clue. Also, a little bit delayed by a week, but we do have results from that oldie wrestling show that happened, so I might as well mention through them. So we had Gentleman Gervais beating the old-timer Jeff King, the Lobbying Legislators, Frisco the Free Fighter, and Big Sue Jackson beat Inky Scoops, Felino Blanco, Marion Fontaine, and the Chief Justice William Howard Taft. The Moonshining Men of Appalachia of Jock Sampson and Burly Bill Taylor beat Little Guido and Bruno Babyface Moretti. Agent Dick J. Lahart beat the El Matador, Gregory Iron. The Organ Grinder, Colin Delaney, and the Cymbal Monkey beat the Jollyville Jeepers. And by 2 falls to 1, Matthew Cross beat the Honourable Judge Hugo Lexington Black to retain the definitive World Championship of all professional wrestling. So there you go, that's that done. Rev Pro, they're live at the Cockpit show from this Sunday. We had El Phantasmo beat Eddie Dennis by submission, with Dennis being upset and storming to the back, and then a masked man attacking El Phantasmo afterwards. Zach Gibson beat Timothy Thatcher, Dave Mastiff victorious over Dan McGee, David Starr beat Ryan Smile, then Shah Samuels appeared and demanded a title match and threatened the owner, Andy Quilden, but Rob Lewis made the save and there was a pull-apart brawl. Then we had Aussie Open of Mark Davis and Cole Fletcher beating Josh Wall and Curtis Chapman. Ginny beat B. Priestley, and Bubblegum beat Flip Gordon. Should probably move that mic a little closer. Then AAW show from last Thursday, the Defining Moment show. We had Paco beat Connor Braxton with a 2-minute roll-up, which is a bit crazy. Afterwards, Jeff Cobb destroyed Paco and threw him around like a rag doll. He then took on Joey Janela, and Jeff Cobb won that in 12 minutes with Tour of the Islands. Then there was a video package of Vega and Fitchett backstage, as there's obviously the tension between them is still brewing, hinting at a breakup, and ACH intervened and said, look, let's team. So this led to Vega and Fitchett with ACH taking on Team Tremendous of Dan Barry and Bill Carr and Colt Cabana. And the best in the world, ACH, managed to win. And then afterwards, Vega and Fitchett were starting to once again sort of have a war of words and shoves and everything. And ACH tries to intervene to, band them together again. And Vega reluctantly joins in, and they celebrate to the theme of Friends. I'll be there for you and all that. So then Matt Riddle beat Shane Strickland in what's said to be a very good match, mainly because the audience threw money in the ring. apparently that tradition is now happening as a often thing. Keith Lee beat Trevor Lee and AR Fox in a triple threat with a big old powerbomb. Then Penta El Zero Miedo retained the Heritage title against Brian Cage. Then OI4K versus Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz. And Xavier and Wentz managed to keep or get the belts. I'm not sure what title history is of that, because the article I have, it says able to escape with the titles, which sort of implies possibly that they held them, but who knows. So then Cody Rhodes' debut against DJZ. So before it started, Cody got on the mic, ripped into Chicago, said it's a second-rate wannabe city and that he wants his hot dogs the proper way with ketchup. Which of course riles up the crowd, because I guess there has to be mustard on it as well, at least, or something. And then Cody asked DJZ to kiss the ring. DJZ refused, and Cody narrowly won, but he did get the win. And afterwards, Cody showed his appreciation to the crowd, admitting that, he actually doesn't like ketchup. He was just doing it to make sure that he was the heel dynamic in the thing, but I guess it didn't entirely work. He puts over DJZ, noting that he's overcoming an injury and isn't at 100%, but if he was, DJZ would probably beat him. And then the big one, Phoenix versus Callahan, mask versus title. And apparently it really did well in terms of response and had the right sort of payoff for the feud. So towards the end, Sammy pulled Phoenix's mask off before it was ready, but Ray managed to grab a mask that JT Davidson had. I think it was one of the ones that he grabbed months back. Put it on, make his comeback against Sammy. Ray pinned him, and Ray Phoenix is the AAW Heavyweight Champion. So afterwards, Sammy gave Ray the title, paid respect to him, and as he left the ring, Pentagon came in. Because before the show, they said Pentagon will face whoever the champion is at the next show in October. So they were sort of like staring each other down like, it's mine, son. And then it just actually turned into a celebration. So, yes, brother versus brother. Phoenix versus Penta in October. Should be interesting. So now we get to Chikara, and when I can actually talk about stuff properly, because I was there. So, for the first round, we had House CCK of Brooks, Kid Lycos, and Elijah beating House Vice Cops of Officer Warren Barksdale and Des Peloton. House Rot beat House Body Slam, so Hallowicked, Fretmare, and Cobalt beating Michael Finn, Vassal, and Emeritus Midnight. Hallowicked pinning Midnight with Never Wake Up. Body Slam were, admittedly, I only saw like 2 of the 3 from Body Slam from the third day that I went to, but they seem pretty good, and hopefully it gets them more, considering they are European based, hopefully it gets them some more European bookings across many different promotions. We'll have to see. House 7 Seas of the Hermit Crab, Cajun Crawdad, and Murloc beat House Revival of Johnny Storm, Jody Fleisch, and Johnny Moss. Then House Strong Style were in action to head off into the interval, I guess, beating House White Wolf with A-Kid, Adam Chase, and Zayas. White Wolf was very popular as well, showcasing of their impressive stuff. Bates winning, pinning A-Kid with the title drive 97. Then for the second half, Casa Dorada beat House World of Sport. So that's Juan Francisco de Coronado, Sonny Defarge, and Cornelius Crummels beating James Mason, Mal Sanders, and Danny Boy Collins with a rope-assisted cradle. So, heelish to the end. House Furies of Solo Darling, Travis Huckabee, and Fire Ant beat House Fight Club. Millie McKenzie, Kyle Fletcher, and Amari, with Huckabee giving Millie a swinging stretch muffler and Solo making a submit to the sharp stinger, which is basically a mix of a sharpshooter and a clover leaf. Which I did actually see, and it's actually not too bad executed, I will say. Then House Sendai Girls of Micah Satomura, Dash Yosako, and Cassandra Miyagi beat House Cyberhawks of Nighthawk, Silverhawk, and Razorhawk with a frog splash from Dash. And then House Throwback of Dasha Hatfield, Mark Angelo Setti, and Simon Grimm beat House Attack Pro of Deputy Damien Dunn and the Obstruction Brothers, Jim and Lee. Hatfield pinning Dunn with a Grand Slam. So now we get to the night 2 results. So in the first Rey de Voladores match, the Whisper, who's now Ophidian, with a interesting sort of distorted version of Ophidian's theme. He won, beating A-Kid, Amari, and Phantasmo. So Phantasmo was first out with a slingshot into a double springboard Arabian press. Then A-Kid was eliminated by Omari with the Ozone, and then Ophidian eliminated Amari with an Egyptian Destroyer and a Yoshi Tonic. From what I've heard, and certainly from what I saw as well, there's a lot of people saying that Omari and Kyle and Millie might be ones to watch in terms of whether they might be going to a certain company in Stamford within the next 5 years or so, because obviously they're pretty young themselves, but certainly from what I saw, I can certainly see why people are saying that, and yeah, certainly I didn't see Kyle from what I remember, but from what I saw of Omari and Millie, they were actually pretty good. So then we had 2 of the quarterfinals for the trio stuff. So Casa Dorada beat House CCK when Defarge and Crummels both pinned Elijah with an assisted avalanche monkey flip. Oh, then we actually had the other semi-final. I misread. Sorry, people. With Jody Fleisch winning over Chuck Mambo, Red Eagle Jr. and Silverhawk. So Mambo was out first, eliminated by Red Eagle Jr. with a victory roll. And then Fleisch eliminated Eagle with a Phoenix 720 DDT. 720. And then Fleisch eliminated Silverhawk, with a Flying Tornado DDT. So Ophidian versus Jody Fleisch is coming. I'll get to that. So then House Sendai Girls beat House 7 Seas with Satomura pinning Crawdad with the Scorpion Rising, which is the big old kick to the back of the head. House Rot beat House Furies by Castigo Excesivo. So basically DQ. Fire Ant kept giving Frightmare beach breaks, which is, his sort of new, very brutal finisher. And because he kept doing it, the referee's decision was to throw it out and House Rock progress. Then we had the World of Sports rules match one fall to a finish, which went 6 rounds, because it was under World of Sport rules. It was still a draw. So, it went to overtime, with no time limit needed. But from what I've heard from the people that were there, this was a really incredible match. I need to catch up with it. As I previously mentioned on the last video, the archive Raw cuts are live, and the properly edited together packages should be coming within the next week or so at least. So I'm intrigued to see what that is. And then finally, House Strong Style beats House Throwback, with Dunn pinning Hatfield with the bitter end. So your 4 in the finals for King of Trios are Casa Dorada, House Sendai Girls, House Rot, and House Strong Style. So then we get to day 3, night 3, whatever you want to call it. Because it wasn't really night, because it wasn't dark. It was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, admittedly, it's their first trip to Starworks. It's a very nice venue for what it is. So I think that it really does seem suitable in terms of basically a disused warehouse that's now being used. You know, it wasn't too big, it wasn't too small. There was certainly much more space for merch stuff than when I went to the show a few years back in the same town, well, same city, I guess, at the hall that they had. So, also worth noting, there was a little fenced-off area where the lights were for the lighting of the ring, which was obviously more needed for the evening shows rather than the show that I went to. But in one of these bits, there was 5 or 6 beach balls. I think that's an interesting in-joke. So, first match. House Sendai Girls taking on Casa Dorada. Really sort of well-worked, like, old-school match. Casa Dorada being over the heels and, like, beating down on the women, you know, to prove that they were more superior. And then I think it was Dash getting picked on a heck of a lot. You know, the heels working it to their advantage, distracting the ref so they could, you know, do a 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 when Sendai were trying to distract them back and whatever. So, and it was eventually House Sendai Girls that did get the win. Can't remember all the finishes from this, and I don't have it on my notes, but Sendai got the win, and a standing ovation. Because it's like, wow. It's very rare that in King of Trios you get defending champions making it the following year to the finals, even if they are in the tournament. So that's impressive enough. So then next up, out came House Strong Style, ready to take on House Rot. Vlad, the ring announcer, then informed us that basically the medical people have not been able to clear Frightmare because of what he sustained from Fire Ant the night before. Therefore, winning by forfeit House Strong Style. Now, I know if you go to the hardcore CHIKARA fans, they aren't entirely happy with this, because when it's happened in previous things, when somebody's been injured, either legit or storyline, there's always been sort of a lottery to draft a replacement. So, now there's some people like, okay, why did that happen? But, so that means there was no Frightmare or Hallowicked on this entire show. They were gone. We did see Kobold, but we'll get to him. And, yeah. Pete Dunne just, like, walks out and is going up the ramp just going, hey, free win! There you go! The others were a bit, you know... Tyler was sort of like, okay. And Trent, being Trent, was just clarifying with the referee and everything. And then got to the outside and then acted as if he was winded, like he'd wrestled for God knows how many minutes. He was like, oh, that one was hard. And Trent went to the back. I like that. So then we had a Battle of the Cops. Deputy Damien Dunn taking on Officer Warren Barksdale. It was all about... It was a lot of fun interaction here, sort of like, you know, no fun and writing tickets and arresting people. Then we actually got to the match, and then the interference stuff happened, so... The Obstruction Brothers came in and were ready to do the basically what's up with their hard sort of builder's hat style things on Barksdale. But then, out of nowhere, here comes Des Peloton on their bikes riding through the doors. So they come in and take out they actually reverse it round, so the Obstruction Brothers, the one hits it on his own brother and everything. Then they grab him, drop him sort of like Spinebuster style on the bike and roll them to the back. And Barksdale gets the win, arrests Deputy Damien Dunn, and takes him to the back. So then, in another bonus match, we had Kobold versus Fire Ant. This was over very quickly. Fire Ant was just really just beating somebody up badly. Hit him with a beach break, went for another one, and people were like, no, sort of thing, because it's like, thankfully after the second one he pinned him, because some people were like, is he gonna get thrown out again for doing this? But he didn't, thankfully. So then we get to the tag team gauntlets. So team number 1 was Fight Club Pro's team of Millie and Amari, taking on team number 2, Cajun Crawdad and the Hermit Crab. And it was Crawdad and Hermit Crab that got that first fall. Next out were Solo Darling and Travis Huckabee. I think it was Hermit Crab having to tap out for Solo's variant of the sharp stinger, you know, the sharpshooter with the clover leaf mixed in. Then Emeritus Midnight and Vassal from House Body Slam beat Solo Darling and Travis. Next out were the Throwbacks. Now, I'm not sure if it's Emeritus or Vassal, but they've got a teddy bear. And sort of that's like the power, that's the thing that powers up, I guess, Vassal. if you want to call it that. And Mark managed to get it and punt it into the third row. Thankfully, interestingly, on an empty seat. So somebody managed to grab it, put it on the seat, and then he came over to, like, close to me and just sat in the crowd and comforted the bear, and it's like, aww. But also, that's awesome. So then, out came CCK of Kid Lycos and Chris Brooks. I got covered in Chris Brooks's water that he sprayed. I'm willing to take the sacrifice. And, you know, again, just like Strong Style, Chris Brooks was a guy that I saw on the pre-show of the first CHIKARA show 3 years ago. And, you know, he wasn't too bad. Certainly was a good match that he had. I think it was with Dan Maloney. Can't remember. I'd have to get the DVDs, and I don't think I have them. Oh no, they're downstairs, I think, somewhere. Either way, obviously, as of this time, he is Fight Club Pro's world champion, and, you know, this weekend has got a big match with Lycos to try and get the Progress titles. And man, did these three prove to be alright. You know, it was team number 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, I guess 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. Team 6. So they beat Dasher Hatfield and Mark Angelo Setti. Next came out Adam Chase and Zayas from House White Wolf. They had a very nice little match as well that Brooks and Lycos won as well. Then I love the fact that it's listed the wrong people because their gimmicks are the same. But the Hunter Brothers came out. So this was a true sort of Fight Club Pro style match. And Brooks and Lycos won that as well, so they have 3 points. And the next team is Los Ice Creams. Awkward. And there was a lot of funny stuff there. One of the Ice Creams was crying because he got hurt really bad. But it was Los Ice Creams that eventually got the win. And then that was it. And I've just realised, and I was sort of trying to work out at the time whether that was right. That was 9 teams. So I guess the 10th team never happened. Because you had Crawdad and Crab. You had Fight Club Pro. You had Solo and Travis. You had Body Slam. You had the Throwbacks. You had CCK. You had House White Wolf. You had the Hunter Brothers. And, yeah. So the 10-team gauntlet never happened. It was only 9. So I don't know what happened there. Whether one team never showed up, I don't know. So then, after the interval, when I got some photos, and I'll probably be sharing them. Well, can't remember if I'll share them on Twitter. I've still got to work it out and sort of... I'm tempted to sort of enhance them a bit because, you know, this tablet did pretty good pictures. I better make sure that it's actually on camera. Yeah, this tablet, it does alright pictures, but in the spur of the moment, obviously a lot of them are blurry as crap, and I don't know whether I can improve that on After Effects. But I'll see. I'll put them out at some point. Somewhere. Probably on my Twitter. As well as, you know, my personal Facebook stuff, and people will probably find it that way. As well. Because I need to tag all the peoples. Still need to find the ones from 3 years ago on that lost SD card. That'll be weird, like before and after. So, I did get some photos afterwards, but, you know, I got some of that. Also, I picked up, and I'm pleased that they had it, the Dream Tag Team Invitational from Fight Club Pro from earlier in the year, which includes Strong Style versus the Elite, and a load of other, from what I heard, really good matches, and for 3 nights in Wolverhampton, Manchester and Liverpool, from what I heard, they killed it, so definitely going to be checking that out very soon. So, when we came back, we had Silverhawk versus Murloc. Oh, that's the other thing. I actually got a Razorhawk Young Lions Cup, I guess, business card. So, yeah, shout outs to, I can't see it because of my notes. Let's get it in focus. Autofocus, please. Jesus, autofocus is broken. There you go, Razorhawk2000 at gmail.com and at Razorhawk2000. I probably need to sign up to that in the next day or two. Because that's how you do publicity. You just go round being awesome. So, where was I? Yes, so we came back with Silverhawk and Murloc. Pretty good match, but Murloc was too strong, and Silverhawk succumbed to the Emerald Flosion. The big beast that is Murloc gets back on the board with points after losing them, I think, to Dasher Hatfield. I can't remember. Certainly at one of the shows, because he had like 3 or 4 points, so it was like crazy. Then the Rey de Voladores final. Ophidian, aka the Whisper, against Jody Fleisch. This was really, really good. Didn't have to be. The key thing was Ophidian was struggling to do the real Ophidian's moves, which is obviously reflecting on the fact that, one, he's still getting used to it in terms of the fact that this is his first real set of shows with that persona. But it was really well worked. The amount of false finishes and like great spots, it was really well put together. Jody as well was exceptional with some of the stuff. Nearly got clattered, but thankfully the dive happened sort of thankfully in the gaps rather than anywhere else. So the finish came with Ophidian throwing Jody into the post, and they were basically making out that Jody might actually be dead. And the referee, rather than sort of stopping the match and basically saying, okay, he wins by basically TKO or, referee stoppage, Ophidian grabs Jody, drags him in the ring, completely out of it, pins him. It's not even really a roll-up, as it says in the notes. He just pinned him and got the win. The officials and everything see to and tend to him. There's no stretchers or anything, so they just have to sort of carry him out. Ophidian goes out and does the whole, Ophidian poses and leaves. I made sure afterwards to, congratulate him and say it was a really good match. And because, let's be honest, I'm not a big fan of kayfabe. So, I don't go boo at them. Well, I guess I do at certain points, but when I see them in person, you know, I acknowledge that they put on a damn good match, whether they were heel or not. So it's like, yeah, fair play. You know, whoever the Whisper is, for real, you know, there's a lot of pressure on him to obviously deliver now with the Ophidian gimmick, but Jody Fleisch, I wouldn't say carried it, because it was sort of like 50-50, but the match sort of says that Whisper actually might be somebody impressive to keep an eye on, so. And then we got to the King of Trios final. And then finally, I got to do this to Trent Seven. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to do. So I've officially, I don't know what this is. The mustache tweak, maybe? Who knows? So they took on the Sendai Girls. Man, this just started off with, like, Pete and Satomura just getting in each other's faces. And one of the opening bits was Pete just beating the shit out of her, like, with a punch. Like, jeez, this was stiff. This was as if it was in Japan. All these six put on an incredible 6-person tag showcase. One of the even crazier bits, somebody's beer or energy drinks dropped to the floor by accident, sprayed the floor as if we needed bloody pyro of sorts. And then just as that happened, the castle entrance, Dash climbed to the top of, and she did a crazy frog splash. No, side dive. I can't even know the names. Did a dive off the top of the castle. Like, what? It's like, I think it went at least something like 20 minutes, if not more. Done pinning Satomura eventually with the bitter end. I think after the third attempt, he hit it one time. She kicked out at one. This match, to be honest, the King of Trios final and the Rey de Vadoris final are worth buying the last night alone. From what I've heard, the World of Sport rules match may be alone to buy night 2. And if you've gone that far, you might as well get the first night as well and get the whole set. I know I have. Even though I only went to one of them, I've already bought them and I've got the raw cuts. So yeah, in case you're interested to know where I am from the hard camera on top of the castle that looks to the ring. I am, like, I think 5th row back in a black t-shirt. You probably will only see the back of my head. You won't see the front of my head, like with the show that I went to 3 years ago. But them being close to the entrance, I could do sweet / that gesture to Trent and get good shots, or somewhat good shots because of people being in the way of the people coming out and everything. But also be relatively close to the ring. You know, it was well worth it. I enjoyed myself. I should really go to more wrestling events, but just because of where I am and because money stuff and travel, it's like it was the main reason, obviously, why I got those tickets back in February was like, this is a tournament that I've always had a fondness for. since experiencing it sort of for the first time in, I think, 2011 or 2012. And I never thought I'd get the day that I'd be able to see it in person, unless I got a passport and went to Philadelphia. And the fact that they said, oh yeah, we're bringing it to the UK. Okay, it moved from the place where it could have been closer to where it is now, to where it was at Starworks, but it was relatively easy to get to from a train, and yeah. I wouldn't trade it for any ticket in the world, at least for now. It was great to see. Full credit out to all the workers, all the backstage people. Quack never showed up for the third day, but I guess they were selling the fact that he actually was properly retired now, after the stuff with Johnny Kidd. But yeah. Go check out the VOD on CHIKARAPro.com. And on top of that, PWG's Bowler happened. So, Friday, we had Desmond Xavier beat Brian Cage. Marty Scurll beat Flash Morgan Webster via submission with the crossface chicken wing. Xavier beat Page with the reverse Yoshi Tonic. Ray Phoenix beat Ray Horus with a butterfly submission lock. Then the Chosen Bros beat Dijak and Lee with an assisted GTS. So that was, PWG was Dijak's last action before he went to the Performance Center. Penta beat Seidel with a package pile driver. Zack Sabre Jr. beat Jonah Rock with an armbar. And Ricochet beat Flamita with a DDT variant. That was certainly a very well-received match there. Then Night 2, which, because I haven't heard about Night 3 just yet, because I still haven't been able to catch up with the Observer from Monday. Night 2 is said to be one of the best shows PWG's ever had, so this is one that I'm really interested in trying to see. So we had Dijak beat Trevor Lee, Sammy Guevara beat Joey Janela, Travis Banks beat Mark Haskins, the leaders of Scurll and Sabre beat Seidel and Ricochet, Jeff Cobb beat Sami Callihan with Tour of the Islands, Matt Riddle beat Elgin with a Cradle Tombstone, and Keith Lee beat Volta with the Fireman's Carry Jackhammer. And then the main event, apologies, the Elite beat Flamita and the Lucha Brothers with the One-Winged Angel. The big issue is apparently the ring broke. We're only like a minute or so into that six-man tag, which was a bit of a shame, but still, it's been damn well received. So then we get to Night 3, the crazy one. So Ricochet beat Desmond Xavier. Travis Banks beat Marty Scurll, and probably was an upset with a roll-up. Keith Lee beat Donovan Dijak with Ground Zero, so that was, I guess, Dijak's last match on the Indies. Ray Phoenix beat Zack Sabre Jr. Jeff Cobb beat Sammy Guevara and Matt Riddle, victorious over Penta. So then we got, after the intermission, the semi-finals. Ricochet beat Travis Banks, Keith Lee beat Phoenix, and Jeff Cobb beat Riddle. So Lee, Ricochet, and Cobb progress on to the main event. However, before that, in non-tournament action, Chuck Taylor, Flamita, Joey Janela, Mark Haskins, and Flash Morgan Webster beat Brian Cage, Jonah Rock, Sami Callihan, Trevor Lee, and Walter. And then in the main event, the 2017 Battle of Los Angeles winners Ricochet. So Cobb was out first, eliminated by Keith Lee. And then Ricochet rolled up Lee, I think pretty soon after, with a roll-up to get the win, and then cut a heel promo on Chuck Taylor. So I guess Ricochet's now heel. to finish off the show and the event. So there you go. So coming this week, so the New Japan stuff, as I previously mentioned, there is no Kenny Omega for the Road to Destruction stuff, or the Destruction shows that aren't the US title match that he's going to be a part of. So in his place is Tama and Tanga's brother. I can't remember his name, it was in the last article. But because there isn't really any title matches with them or anything of significance. So the Thursday show, which may have already happened by the time this gets out, will be headlined by a 10-man tag main event with Chaos of Okada, Ishii, Yano, Ospreay and Romero taking on LIJ of Naito, Evil, Sanada, Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi. Then this coming Saturday, it's another 10-man tag main eventing it, but this time it's, I guess, Team New Japan of Elgin, Tanahashi, Kushida, Taguchi and Ricochet taking on Suzuki Gun of Suzuki, Iizuka, El Desperado, Kanemaru and Taichi. Then we get to the Fukushima show itself. And I'll just mention here the title matches, because they're the only things that seem to be entirely major that's going on here. So we've got Rowan Hansen defending the tag titles against the Guerrillas of Destiny and the Killer Elite Squad of Lance Archer and David Boy Smith Jr. The 6-man tag belts are up for grabs as well, with Evil, Sanada and Bushi defending against Okada, Yano and Romero. And then Minoru Suzuki versus Michael Elgin for the Never Openweight title. Maybe a title change? Who knows? So that's the New Japan stuff. In terms of the other shows coming this weekend, so Southside Wrestling this Sunday has Chop Gun at the Corn Exchange in Bedford. I believe there's still some tickets available. On this card, we've got BT Gunn versus Bob Holly in the main event. We've also got Casey Owens versus Lana Austin, Kip Sabian versus El Ligero, Alex Gracie taking on Joseph Connors, Robbie X versus Gabriel Kidd, Rob Lynch taking on Brady Phillips, GBH of Blake and Adam Maxted facing Cheap Pops and Dreadlocks, and Ashley Dunn taking on Stevie Boy. Alpha One on Sunday in St. Catharines, Ontario, having their Beyond Compare show. So on this one, we've got a hardcore match between Ethan Page and Steve Brown. Beautiful B one-on-one with Miss Chung. Big and Dirty of Dirty Rex Atkins and Brute Van Slyke face the Western Med Connection. Jesse Bieber, I don't think related, maybe, taking on Eric Carney. A 4-way elimination match with Maxwell Jacob Friedman, Fuerza Estupapi, Shane Saber and TJ Thunder. The 2 title matches, Space Monkey defending the Zero Gravity title against Gregory Iron, and Kobe Durst has the Alpha Male title up for grabs against Alessandro Del Bruno. And then the Strong Style Showdown, Josh Alexander versus Eddie Kingston. So that's going down. Then this Saturday, we move a day ahead, if you will. CWF Mid Atlantic's For the Record show at the Mid Atlantic Sportatorium in Gibsonville, North Carolina. Matches confirmed so far. Jason Kincaid defends the Modern Vintage title. It was an open challenge. That's now been answered by John Schuyler, so that'll be going down. Eric Andrews puts the World TV title up for grabs against Joshua Cutchell. The Ultra J title defended by Logan Easton LaRue against Tracer X. And Trevor Lee defends the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title against Eric Royal in a no time limit match. The big thing about it is, on that day, Trevor Lee will tie Eric Royal's record in terms of consecutive days of holding the title. So if Trevor wins, he'll break the record for the longest title reign in the history of Mid Atlantic. But obviously, he's got to do that by beating Eric himself. Also, Chet Sterling, who won the Johnny Weaver Cup, will be addressing the crowd since his win, for the first time since his win, sorry. Also, C.W. Anderson, Kane Justice, Snooty Fox, Sandwich Squad, and Ethan Alexander Sharp are set to be on the show, along with God knows more. So now we get to the WSU CZW doubleheader, which, admittedly, is the last to be in the Voorhees, New Jersey area in terms of the flying skate zone. Basically, they're doing changes to the venue, so they're having to leave, so they're going to be relocating to the Rastelli Complex in Seoul, New Jersey, for their next show in October. So, yeah, it's sort of a triple farewell then this weekend. It's a triple significance. You've got the Chris Cash Memorial Ladder match, you've got Danny Havoc's last ever match, and you've got the last CZW and WSU, to be honest, shows at the Skate Zone. So, start off with WSU, as the show this time is the Queen and King of the Ring shows. So tickets are for this one $20 to $30, depending where you want to be in terms of seating. So there are two non-tournament matches. We've got the tag titles up for grabs, with Maria Manic and Penelope Ford defending against the Sinister Sweethearts of Brittany Blake and Samantha Heights. And then the interesting one for the world title, the undisputed champ, Mercedes Martinez, taking on the undefeated Jordan Grace. So either the streak's going, or the title's going. One or the other. So, then we get to, I realise that's a mistake in my notes, the actual King and Queen of the Ring stuff. So it's 8-team tournaments, which will be decided on the night. So, I don't know whether this is the actual sort of order of the brackets, but these are the order that they're listed on the website. We've got Leva Bates and Greg Excellent taking on Isla Damon and Dave Christ. Willow Nightingale and Anthony Bennett facing Sue Young and Blackwater. Rick Cataldo and Maxwell Jacob Friedman versus Pop Culture of Vader Scott and Jason Cade. And Kira Hogan and Brandon Watt, taking on Ray Lynn and Tim Donst. So then, later on in the night, Down with the Sickness. Featuring David Starr versus Johnny Silver, the Ugly Ducklings taking on the Chris Brothers, Sammy Callahan versus Jimmy Lloyd. Maxwell Jacob Freeman puts the CZW Wire title up for grabs against Ace Romero. Shane Strickland issues an open challenge for his CZW World title. The Rep, formerly the Dub Boys of Dave McCall and Nate Carter, take on Private Party of Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn in a Chris Cash Memorial Ladder match for the #1 contenderships of the tag titles, because obviously they're currently held by CCK. And then Danny Havoc versus Alex Colon and Danny Havoc's retirement match, with all stipulations created from the mind of Danny himself. So that should be an interesting one. So on top of that happening, which you can probably watch online, because I think there is going to be a pay-per-view feed from what I remember. You can also watch for free on Twitch, probably just as an important a show. Wrestlecircus presents Texas versus the World. The big thing about this now is all proceeds, be it tickets, be it VIP tickets, be it merch, be be it Twitch subs or donations, will go towards the relief efforts for Hurricane Harvey that are happening right now. There are some very limited availability tickets for the general admission. So it's, I mean, okay, it's free on Twitch, but if you can donate and help out some of the relief stuff, and you missed out on the games done quick things, twitch.tv/Wrestlecircus. I probably will be catching it live, so I'll be able to see it. Yeah, so I shouldn't have too much to do that following day. So, coming up with that, on the card, we've got a four-way with Jordan Lennox, JT Dunn, Flip Gordon, and Trey Miguel making his debut. Also making his debut, Bestia 666 taking on Mecha Wolf and Laredo Kid in a triple threat. Both for Sideshow and the Lady of the Ring titles will be up for grabs as Tessa Blanchard goes one-on-one with Kevin Condren. So yeah, we might have a man holding a women's title. That might be awkward. Jay White makes his debut to take on Sammy Guevara. Then a triple threat with Delilah Doom, Joey Ryan, and Laurel Van Ness, aka Chelsea Green, whoever you want to call her. Then the big top tag titles will be up for grabs. And Helico and Jack Evans, making their debut, will be challenging against Britt Baker and somebody. Because, of course, you know, Adam got signed to the E. So, that's a bit awkward. So, Britt will apparently be revealing, I guess, who she's teaming with. And what's going to happen on that show. We've also got Keith Lee, one-on-one with Scorpio Sky, and EC3 versus Brian Cage. So that should be very interesting in Austin, Texas, at the Travis County Expo Center, because they moved out the old venue. And then finally, one, because it's British, and two, because it probably is one of the biggest shows of the week, Progress Wrestling. So Saturday, they're doing a preview show live on Twitch. There is a free event also to the Scenario nightclub in London on Stoke Newington Road, N16. But it is a ticketed event, so you need to book a free ticket to actually get in. So basically, get there to get a seat and make sure there's space to stand. And I don't know whether they're actually streaming it sort of in the bar or somewhere, but it seems to be. I don't know whether it's the same venue where they've done the streaming before from backstage or whatever. Although it is worth noting that there is a special thing that's going off. So all drinks that are purchased on the night, 10% of the proceeds of those drinks will actually go to TK Cooper. Because obviously he's not able to wrestle at the minute because of that broken leg that he sustained at the New York show. So, as it says, so obviously, drink a bit. So the stream will be starting at 6 PM UK time, so 1 Eastern, 10 in the morning Pacific. And it seems to be Fire Pro Wrestling based as well. Glenn Joseph's going to be there, one of the key people behind Progress. And the Fire Pro Wrestling stuff, I'm guessing they're going to be sort of simming the matches, possibly. And then Chase the Sun itself, the only matches we know so far, which is still pretty damn good. Zack Sabre Jr. is issuing open challenge. Mark Haskins and Danny Havoc go one-on-one in a death match. And then 4 title matches. That's 3. 4 title matches. Toni Storm defends the women's title against Dahlia Black before, I guess, she heads on a plane to Vegas. Matt Riddle defends the Atlas title against Timothy Thatcher and Volta in a triple threat. British Strong Style put the tag titles up for grabs against CCK, so Trent Seven and Tyler Bate versus Chris Brooks and Kid Lycos in a ladder match. And then the big one, Pete Dunne defending the Progress World title against Travis Banks. Will Pete's reign come to an end? Or will the Bruiserweight keep on bruising? That's what I want to call it. So yeah, that's the indie stuff. I've already gone an hour. I know that might mean that the bloody video might be too big to actually go on the bloody thing for Owen to get, so we'll have to see what that situation is in terms of me trying to upload stuff. There'll be a Mae Young video coming. There will be a television video coming as well. Keep in mind as well, if there's any sort of breaking news that happens as well that I think is of interest to get out, just like it was with the GFW stuff, I'll mention it on those videos. So if you haven't seen this video, I don't know why I'm saying that. Anyway, so I'll see you on the next video. That's all I've got to say about that. Something or nothing. Blah.